Me again. I'm going to get right into this. The question presented to me was, how do I remain positive through the midst of difficulty, trials, and tribulations of life? I'm paraphrasing right now. Well, the truth of the matter is, and I know who sent this one this time. It's a bro of mine, and so I'm going to try to give a unique perspective, my own perspective, and as a man. The truth of the matter is, I'm not. I'm not always positive. The truth of the matter is, there are times that I'm angry. I'm naturally confrontational. There's times where I'm down on myself. The funny thing is, there might be people out there that are dealing with way more than me. A friend of mine once said that his doctor told him that he dealt with stress good. He just didn't know how to let it go. I deal with stress by letting it go. So maybe I just don't have anything to stress about. And when I do, it hits me pretty hard as well. And then also, oh my goodness, I have the sexual appetite of Stippling Dynamite. If anybody knows that reference. Yeah, I've always had a healthy libido, and that's been one of the most difficult aspects of my come up as my own person, but the most rewarding as well, which we can get into in a second. So, with that being said, I'd like to present you with a journey to answer this question. Because truly, the only difference I could see between me and another person may be the distinguishing between struggling and suffering, which I find as a gift that I've been provided by life through just being relentless and not giving up. And I've been close on several occasions, and there are things I have let go, but I'm still here, and just like anyone else, I do my best. So with that being said, let's take you on a hero's journey. Journey of a young man. And yes, we're going to draw a stick figure again. Hey. So, this unique perspective is going to be from the ground up. We're going to break it down in threes, all right? The child, the mother, and the father. All right? And thus we'll break the body into threes as well. So anyways, the child. When we come into this existence, we come with zero expectation and full of life. All right? Oh. Zero expectation and full of life. And as we grow, we develop personalities, and our personalities has tendencies towards certain things and repulsions towards other things, okay? So we experience pleasures and pain, and we have a tendency to run towards the pleasure and push away from the pain, all right? We can also represent the child as our sexual nature, because that's how we come into this existence. And I like to see sex symbolically as that push and pull, pleasure and pain. When I was younger, I opened Pandora's box very early. I found myself in the midst of porn, and I began to watch it out of curiosity, and something kept me towards it. I think I had a misunderstanding from a lack of knowledge that sex isn't the same thing as love. It should be, but it isn't always, all right? When we're just pursuing a pleasure, all right, that's us trying to perpetuate life in a way. But this day and age, with society's particular beliefs on birth control, on population control, on recreational sex, it's become perverted. Okay, we've taken something profound and made it profane. And we suffer because of this. It's almost a way to tell us that we are rebelling against our true nature. But that's kind of our animal instinct, all right? We as human beings are more than just our ability to propagate life and to sustain it. We have the chance, the luxury to care about something more than life itself. And that's when we go into the mother, which represents love. There are moments when we find, or when love finds us in life, and it can completely shift our world and perspective. I've only dated once in my entire life, and my ex was an absolutely beautiful soul. Still is. We don't keep in touch. But what I always appreciate about her is that she made me realize that there was something worthy of my time outside of anything I could accomplish for myself. Now, the only difficulty with the heart is when we gain something so precious, so priceless, we have this idea. It's just an idea, but we have this idea that we can ever lose it. If it's true love is unconditional, and that means with external circumstances as well. Therefore, romantic love is cool, and it's an important part of this dynamic. But looks only last so long. Lust only lasts so long. Likes only last so long. But love, when you truly care about something, you tap into something that can't even be expressed in words. Okay? But we have to face the idea that this is something that can be lost. And so that brings me, last but not least, to the father. When we start to discern from pleasure and pain, when we start to discipline ourselves from the wants and the not wants of life, and when we face loss, you may find yourself alone. And that's what happened to me. I had the absolute honor of being in an empty apartment, and around the time I was firefighting, and I left that job, and so I couldn't pay for my apartment. I got into a wreck, so I lost my car. I just broke up with my girlfriend. So I had all these things that people always told me I needed, and then it was just gone. And I had to face myself. Well, I didn't have to, but something told me it was important. But I was lost. I didn't know what I was looking at. I had no answers. And in the midst of having no answers, I heard a voice within that said to be still. And so I did. And that's when I took up meditation. And I did it a lot, a lot, a lot, a lot. Until I started to get answers. I became aware of what I was dealing with. I became aware of myself. And in that awareness of self, there came a moment where I had to accept myself exactly as I was. And so I go back to the beginning of this presentation when I say that I'm naturally confrontational. I have a super high libido and I barely ever use it. I I easily let go of anything and everyone. And sometimes that hurts. And I found these aspects of myself through meditation, and through the heart, I said, that's okay. And so I present you with this hero's journey. When you become aware of who you truly are, you realize the gift of what you truly are. And in the midst of all that meditation, all that aloneness, I became grateful. And I can't even express to you what that means to me. I can't even express what that could mean to you. But that awareness is consciousness. And so this hero's journey upwards, we can also consider a journey into light. So, we can consider the burning, the agony, or the agony of life, our urges, and the push and pull of the urges, the running away from things we don't want, the agony of life. That's the burning. That's the igniting. We can consider the fire that's produced from the burning, love, ever flickering, unpredictable, yet beautiful by its own right. And we can consider the light that's produced by that fire, illumination, consciousness. Some might call that God. I don't think that is a coincidence that when most refer to God, it says He, the Son, the sacred masculine. This is Mental Health Awareness Month for men, I believe. And so I want to give you this moment to remember your true nature. The person who asks this, since you are asking this, you come with a seeking mind. You're looking for answers, which can come as a feeling, as an experience. But when you ask a question, that's of the mind, all right? You're willing to learn. When we go towards the light, we learn. When we follow our hearts, we love. And then when we remain childlike, not childish, but childlike, We laugh through the difficulties, through the struggles. All right? The difference between struggling and suffering is an internal state which we can control. Struggle is just the things that life throws at us. Now we can struggle with a purpose. We can put ourselves through certain difficulties to grow. That's us happening to life, or life can happen to us. It's up to you. There's no right answer. And the truth of the matter is that the child, the mother, the father, they're all the same thing, just different perspectives. Okay? So amidst the consciousness of self, I found gratitude. Okay? If you find love in this life, beautiful, you know? Or you may find your bliss. You may find something that no matter whether you're going through hard times or great times, if you pursue that passion within your life, everything's great. I wish any of those for you. Just know that they are the same. And if you're dealing with any difficulties, if you find yourself stuck, you may not have found your path, your perspective, or you may be approaching it from somebody else's. Okay? If you have a child, there's nothing wrong with you still having your own life. If you found love, a significant other, a partner, guess what? You're still in your skin. You still gotta confront who you are, regardless of anybody else at the end of the day. There's no avoiding that. And if you find some kind of inspiration from higher consciousness, you must understand that even though you have recognized you are not of this world, we must still be in it. That's the perspective that I've come from. And I've had some very amazing experiences in my life change it. It started with semen retention, when I realized that I was just putting myself in a depression. I became depressed at some point and I didn't know why. And I realized that my sexual habits that I developed as a child, making the profound profane, was making me depressed. And so I had to say no. I had to show discipline and discernment. And I learned how to retain my sacred masculine energy. And I began to attract beautiful things in my life. The first month that I did it, I wound up at the finals of Ninja Warrior. I started attracting success, women. And after that, that's when I had my first relationship. But that's the negative context, removing something from your life. Then there was kind of like this emptiness that had to be filled. And yes, my significant other was a beautiful aspect of filling that void per se. But that was externally. There was still a void internally. And so I found the great neutrality of meditation. Sometimes it's difficult to go from negative to positive. Sometimes you have to go from negative to neutral, then positive. And that nothingness of meditation, that 0 point, gave me everything. I would sit in my lotus position for hours on end. And that's when one of the second most miraculous things happened to me. I felt this incredible heat go down my spine and eventually upward. And I looked into it, and I found some interesting things. about it, but I truly believe that was significant, symbolic almost, of my hero's journey from going downward, being down, to going up in consciousness. I've also done a few psychedelics, and I'm not promoting them, but the reason that I bring it up is because one really impacted my heart. Mushrooms allowed me to produce tears again after not crying for years. It unlocked a certain aspect of my physiological being, and I don't really understand why it was closed to begin with. And I also was called to take the ayahuasca drink from the Amazon rainforest. I did it in Georgia. I did it twice. And what I saw there, what I experienced there, was I heard the music and I saw the light. A lot of the things that I was feeling, I saw and experienced. And that pretty much told me that you're going the right way. Just keep going steadfast. And last but not least, I'd like to make the announcement that as a man, with this journey that I've been on, I believe that once you realize that you are the light within the dark, you have to share it with the world, and you have to find your own special way to do it. Well, a lot of my journey had to do with my sexual energy as a man, and I have made the choice yesterday to officially become celibate. And that's simply because of the path that resonates with me. I'm very happy for this because it seems like the obvious thing. I just never quite knew that's why I was the way I was. It was like everything that I went through was preparing me to be that way. But above all else, to my brother who asked this, you have divinity within you. And when you take that and you make it profound again instead of profane, when you recognize your true nature, everything that I'm saying, I could say that I'm teaching it to you, but at its best, it's just awareness. I'm trying to inspire you to remember who you really are. And you are one of the greatest gifts that is on this planet. You are a protector of your family, of this planet, of yourself. All you need to do is give yourself the space to recognize it. And that's from a Kavan perspective. In my honest opinion, that's from a masculine perspective. That's from a mental perspective. But you may find that same inspiration in love. So feel when you can. Allow yourself to. You may find that same inspiration in your work. Trust yourself in what you're inclined to do on this planet. But again, there's a difference between struggling and suffering. I feel like the three agents of suffering is guilt, fear, and doubt. If you find things that truly make you happy in this world, there's no need to be guilty. If you find love, Know that if it's true love, it's unconditional, so there's nothing to be afraid of. And if you find yourself in doubt, learn, learn, learn. The answers are there for those who care to look. And that is all I got for you today. So yeah, hopefully that helped. I think my pitch today was kind of lacking, but I did my best. Many blessings to you all, and I hope you have a wonderful morning, day, or evening.